Good afternoon, guys. Right here with me is Mr. Norman Lee, Chairperson of CSB Game Dev, and also a GDAP member. So, sir, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So, sir, what is GDAP? And ano yung ginagawa ng GDAP ngayon for this event?
Okay, so basically the GDAP or the Game Developers Association of the Philippines is a trade association composed of different game studios located here in the Philippines. Primarily, we at GDAP, we try and promote the game industry to help it improve and grow. And hopefully there will be more companies now offering game development services, if not actually creating games. Now, with regards to GameCon, GDAP is part of it, particularly combining with the IGDA with introducing a digital aspect of play. So since here in GameCon, there are different types of play. You have tabletop, you have card games. So syempre, we have, of course, yung sa other side of the spectrum, and we're using technologies, yung video games itself. So we have several teams, indies as well from indie developers from IGDA, and some members of GDAP featuring their games at the game development area. Yeah.
Sir, so as of right now, yung ibang CSB profs may workshop sila. And
Yeah,
sir,
so-
for GDAP, may talks po ba na dapat abangan yung mga tao for this event?
So actually for the talks of GDAP and IGDA, it happened earlier in the plenary. So we had Alvin, the president of GDAP, giving a talk on the overview of the industry. Then we have, of course, Solon Chen, another member of GDAP, who gave an advice on careers in game dev. Then we have Ms. Gwen Foster doing teaching game design 101. And then we have a member of GDAP, one of the academic members here at IT, about bringing your game into market. And then you just mentioned that there are several faculty members who are also connected in different GDAP game companies and indie game companies who are currently teaching right now at the workshop. So Nicolo Manahan from Monstronauts, making your first game using Construct 2. And then we have Pit Gungab of Recast Games, teaching naman yun, making a game character. So the entire thrust of this is to introduce game development in both art and the technical or the design to those who are first-timers. And then, given that GameCon is the very first activity mayroon for the year, the game industry still have a lot of activities in store. So ito yung unang patikim.
So sir, sabi nyo maraming events for the game development industry. So sir, paano yung mga events na ganito makakatulong kuwari sa mga indie developers natin? Paano makakatulong yung mga event na ganito? Kasi for the ESGS may indie arena, mga ganun sir. So sir, paano po makakatulong?
Yeah. Actually, one very important aspect about the different activities throughout the year for the game development industry is exposure. One very big thing is exposure. For example, those are featured right now in the game development community area. Majority of them were games made in the Global Game Jam. Yeah. So now we decided to feature them for them to be part of this event in order for them to partake in an activity called the game pitching. Mamaya at 5:30 there's a game pitching event, and then they will be pitching their games to the two members of the game development industry at plenary. Tapos what will happen is that is just the start kasi mayroon pang activity on March. Then we have several activities pa mangyari before ESGS in the hopes that by the time that ESGS hits, siyempre mas polished na yung game nila. So there is that potential for their games to be supported, or they get funding. So these activities are really there. One is to give them exposure. Second is also to expose Filipinos na nag-i-exist to. Often kasi hindi natin nakikita na or normal Filipinos don't see na games are being made by Filipinos. So these types of events like GameCon and the different cons in the Philippines actually shows our normal na, yung mga ano natin na hindi exposed to game development na, hey, games are being made in the Philippines and Filipinos can actually make great games. And hopefully through these events, mas lalo mag-improve pa.
So, as you have said na Filipinos can create games. So, sir, maraming aspiring or maraming gusto mag-try ng game development. So, sir, ano yung, as a chairperson ng game development program ng College of Saint Benilde, ano yung masasabi nyo sa mga aspiring game developers na mga hoping to be a part of this industry?
Okay, so for those who are aspiring to be game developers, siguro one very important thing is to know that learning doesn't end. So let's say, of course, by default, being I'm from Benilde, so I'm from an academic institution. It is very important that you get the right learning, siguro. Yan. So yes, you can self-study. There are a lot of resources in the internet, but it has an advantage if may nagme-mentor sa'yo. So that's very important. Find a mentor. If you're interested in getting into the game industry, find a mentor. Find people who can give comments about your games. And of course, improve your skill. May it be if it's programming, design, or art, it is important na you hone that skill. And there are a lot of resources in the internet. Now, if there are people who are looking into an education, of course, that will give you a faster route. Ika nga, because there are people guiding you or mentoring you. So, siguro important thing is, are you really built to be a game developer? Because there is a difference between playing games and actually making games. So, ang daming that realization will happen probably if you enter Benilde probably the first or second year. So may isip mo, hey, I'm just making, I don't want to make games, I want to play games. So there's a difference between those two. So siguro one thing that is really important for future game developers is siguro yung check yung passion. With passion, then if you really want to make games, then learn and continue learning.
So that's it, guys. Mr. Norman Lee from CSB Game Dev.